So here's the thing about winning with content, because it's two completely different games. If you are looking for, like Mr. Beast style videos, where the platform, that means like YouTube, and the sponsors are your customer, the people who pay you money, then that's a completely different game than if you're a service professional, where you want your viewers to become your customers. So I'm making this video because I just kind of want to break down what those differences are. And if you are looking for virality and a whole bunch of subscribers and viewers, and you're going that influencer route, this video is probably not going to be interesting for you. I'm making this especially for service professionals, like agency owners and coaches especially, because those are the people I work with. I've been doing this since 2016. That's 10 years now. I feel old all of a sudden. But I'm just going to go over there and break down how to create the videos that turn your audience into your customers, especially for services. People charging like $1,000 or more for every single month of your service. Those people, that's who this is for. All right, so let's head over to the whiteboard. I prepared a fancy triangle for you, and I'm gonna break down for you in this video what are the three main elements that make winning content, especially if you're a service pro. So the thing about service professionals, and I work with a lot of them, I am one of them. I've got an agency, 20X agency that, we grew to a 7-figure business. I have a coaching business, so I am deep in that service industry. And I also had a business a while ago that required me to put like 2,000 to 8,000 people in a stadium every single month for speakers. Speakers like Tony Robbins, like Robert Kiyosaki, Nick Vujicic. I'd invite them over to Japan, and I know what it's like to actually have a legitimate business aside from being an influencer. And my coaching clients and my agency clients, for the most part, they are in the same boat. They want their followers to become their clients, who are paying thousands of dollars a month, because they've got IP and they know how to help you go from where you are to where you want to be, a transformation. And that's what people are paying for. And you're not trying to send people to e-commerce e-commerce store to buy like a hoodie with a logo or a hat to support a cause. It's a different game. And when you start going down that route of setting up authority and finding a small audience who's willing to pay you big money, that is when everything changes, especially for service professionals. The thing about being a service provider with a legitimate business that you're already making money for and charging thousands of dollars a month is that you have a limited amount of energy. So when you're a service professional, your week is probably already pretty maxed out. So let's look at typically what your reality is gonna be. So we've got 7 days in a week, right? We've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? And what's gonna happen is pretty much if you are living any type of sane life, you're not gonna be working the weekends, which you shouldn't. You should be actually taking time for yourself, right? So what you're doing for delivery right now is probably already covering 1, 2, 3, 4 of your days, right? And then the rest, you might have some time for marketing. And that's running ads, doing creatives and things like that. But when you're looking at people like Gary Vee or all these Dan Martell, people who are crushing it, what you're seeing is they're doing 5 to 10 posts a day, which is like unrealistic. And the reason why that's a mistake is because you want to be thinking about what did they do at the stage that got them there, and not what they're doing right now, because they had to do things to make enough money to hire the right people in order to actually be able to commit, because their day is going to look more like this. They're spending, and I actually know some of them, I work with them, right? They're spending about 50 to 60% of their time. So let's just say you have, this much time to work on content. And then what's happening is their team, the one that they have enough money to hire, is doing the rest. And a lot of times they might take 1 day a week off, and they're even doing more content here. So you got to think of yourself kind of like as a media business, instead of just being, I do services and a bit of media on the side, but not all at once, because that's how you're going to crash and burn your business. So let's talk about exactly how to go from where you are to, just being able to commit a little bit to being able to do a lot more by installing some simple systems. And I want to walk you through the main things here. So when it comes to winning content, there's 3 main things. Here's how you want to think about it. You don't need to, number one, figure out, what's the viral hit, things like that. That will come later. And if your first videos, even if you write the perfect script and you get amazing editors, a lot of times it's not going to do well, not because your stuff isn't great, but because you just don't have enough practice. You just haven't been doing it long enough. And the first thing you want to think about is, what is the framework, right? How are you going to explain the value that's in here, that big puffy idea. You know you're smart. You know you get your clients great results, and your clients keep telling you that, and they stick around for a long time because you know your stuff and you know how to get it done. But without the right framework, what's going to happen is it feels like this big puffy cloud, and if I go up to someone and explain, I got this great idea, it just feels too vague. But if you could say exactly, this is how something happens, and this is why it's important, and this is why you should care, that's a framework. And I'm going to share with you a really important one. The other one thing I'm going to share with you is production. Now, when it comes to production, what this means is, like think of like a Hollywood set, right? Right now, I've got a bit of production going. I've got a light here, I've got 2 cameras, I got my laptop, I've got Mac shooting the video for me. This is production. You don't need all of this, but you need some things. I'll give you a hint. You're gonna start with just the phone that's in your hand right now, or in your pocket, or that you're watching this video on, and a stick to hold something on, and a wireless mic like I've got right here. That's all you need for production, but how you use it and how you frame it up is super important too. And in this video, I'm gonna walk you through some of that. And then the other thing is you need the right, and I'm gonna write it like this, energy. There we are. Energy. Right now, I have a certain type of energy when I'm presenting. I'm having a conversation just like I would with a client. Sometimes you need to be over the top and act really excited and animated like you're an infomercial guy. Sometimes you just want to drop way down and connect with people on a deeper level. And we're going to talk about that too. And if your content is not winning right now, then you're going to want to go through and look at, is it the production? Do I not have the right production in place? Do I not come across with the right energy? Or do I not have the right framework? So let's step into some of these. I'm going to start with production. And by the way, if you want the list of the gear that I actually use, then just below here, there'll be a list, no gatekeeping, just, click the link, grab that. But let's jump into the actual gear that you need. All right, so when it comes to production, I'm gonna give it to you in like 3 different levels. So level 1 is literally your phone. This is an iPhone 15 Pro. I don't even have the 17, 18 is probably gonna come out this year. This is plenty, even the 13 is gonna be fine. So anything in the last 3 or 4 years is perfect. What's important is that you actually use the right settings. You wanna always shoot in 4K, and you wanna use the back cameras, not the front cameras. So when you're shooting, you gotta make sure that you're doing it right. Videos are gonna look crappy if you do this. Then what happens is you're looking at your own face, right? And the other thing you wanna get is a wireless microphone. There are some wireless mics, like by DJI, that will just sync directly to your camera. Typically don't use AirPods. The sound really sucks on those. Get a real wireless mic. Now, that's level 1. And the thing that's really gonna help you is to get a really simple selfie stick that has legs. Why is this important? I'll tell you why it's important. It's so that you can get far enough back so that it actually shows your face. What you don't want to do is get like this close and it feels like a freaking Zoom call. Everybody's on Zoom calls all the time. You don't want to be another Zoom call or Zoom meeting in someone's newsfeed. You actually want to be interesting. Here's a rule of thumb. I call it Chiefs. All right. So when you frame yourself, like you got to make sure, number 1, C is for chin. The chin should be exactly, and by the way, you better be framing this correctly. The chin should be exactly in the middle of the frame. So there should be enough space here and here. It should be the same, right? H, hand on head. If I go like this, that's about how much space there should be above my head. Now this is gonna work for vertical or horizontal video. It's the same rules, okay? Record it the same way on your phone, this way or this way, doesn't matter, okay? CH, eye, camera should be at your eye level. Now, check this out. I'm gonna show off here. I'm gonna show off a little bit. Look how tall this gets. That's like, is it taller than me? It's pretty tall. So you see the camera's right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower it so the camera, there's the lens. I want it to be exactly at my eye level. Stand up next to it, get it to your eye level. I'll give a link to this one. This is my favorite one because it's magnetic. And then that's how high the camera should be. You don't want it to be down low, pointing up. It makes you look 30% fatter, overweight. It could also make you feel dominant, right? If you have it really high, here's what's gonna happen. This one doesn't get too high, thankfully, but what happens is that the viewer is looking down at you, and it's not a great look for an authority position. The other thing that happens is there's a psychological connection, because what kind of people do we always look down on? We look down on little children, and you don't want to be perceived as a child consciously or subconsciously. So get this at eye level, really important, because eye level is peer level. You see face to face and you feel like you have a connection, right? So we're at CHIE is elbows. You got to get far enough back so that the elbows are comfortably in the frame. And this is the opposite of a Zoom call where you're so close, it feels like you're just feeling like you got your face smushed into the glass, stuck inside of like a Superman, mirror prison thing, like they do that. Like that's not what we want. You want to be far enough back so that at least your elbows are in. Hopefully you could get far enough back so that your waist is in. And I'm explaining this because that's the reason why you need a wireless mic, because you realize how far back, and typically it's going to be like, this far back. That's how far back you're going to be. And then the sound sucks, right? So we're at EF is for face. The face should be equidistant left and right. I should have exactly the same amount of space here as here. Make sure in the middle. You know those birthday photos where everybody's like in a big group and then you zoom in on your own face, you're on the edge, and then your face kind of looks like a mango and it's distorted? It's because all cameras, especially smartphones, when they shoot, the person in the middle always has the nicest proportions. Everything else gets distorted. And you don't want to be on either edge because the middle is the sweet spot. The last one is S, and that stands for shaka hands. What this means is you do this with your hands and your thumb and your pinky. This is scientifically proven to be the exact distance between your lips and the microphone. That's the distance it should be. Now, if you have it, some people, they put on their caps, like that's, you just keep doing the math, it's fine. So that's the Chiefs framework. So when it comes to production, remember, I showed you the gear for level 1 and the Chiefs framework, and that's gonna help you through that. I wanna share just one more thing. If you wanna go further, you can. And this is something that is under $1,000. It's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And if I had to choose just one piece of kit to shoot all videos with, if I wanted a bump up from an iPhone, then it would be this. It all comes together like this. You got the wireless mic, you got a great little gimbal camera. It'll track your face, and it picks up great audio, and it's got its own little tiny stand. So if you're looking for a step up, but don't want to break the bank, then this would be step 2. Now, the exact same rules apply as far as Chiefs go. Now, level 3 is what I'm doing right now. I've got one camera there. Could you point there for a second, right? I've got a light. I've got somebody else holding it handheld. And the reason I'm doing this is I know that YouTube has a higher expectation of quality, and you don't have to start here, but it's good to know what level 3 is. So I'm just using a couple of Sony cameras. Wireless mic goes to that camera. So production, those are the 3 levels you got to think about. As far as the gear goes, Chiefs, that goes across the board. So you got that down, and this is all you need to know in order to get started. Anything beyond that, it might be useful, it might not, but it's not going to be the foundational information that you need. You don't need any more than that, all right? Let's talk about energy. And the last thing I'm going to talk about frameworks is like how to actually deliver that stuff so that you don't bore people. When it comes to frameworks, there's something called ROMs. And I think a framework is the best antidote for this. It's a very contagious disease, actually. Rambling old man syndrome. I might be doing it right now. I might not. I don't know. You let me know, because I'm not using a framework. But when I talk about winning content, the main thing we're talking about is how to do the short forms and win there, so that when you get to doing long form content, you're gonna be so full of your material and so confident that you can deliver it really well. So let's talk about energy. Here's the thing about energy is, if you've ever taught children, like kindergarten children, toddlers, then you realize you have to exaggerate everything. You have to speak slower, and you have to use flashcards and colors and everything. And sometimes you have to do that when it comes to short form. What I mean by that is you have to show up larger than life. Kind of think of it as stage makeup. Like, I went to watch Celine Dion when she came to Tokyo. This is a few years ago. And then afterwards we hung out with one of her top dancers. And when he just got off stage, his makeup looked like pretty much like clown makeup because it was so exaggerated. But from far away on the stage, it looked perfectly natural, because that's what's needed when you have these harsh, bright lights on you. So when you're making short form, everything needs to be a bit exaggerated. Think of it as a larger than life version of you. Not like how I'm speaking now, more like, hey guys, here's how you do this. Like, sometimes that's what's necessary. It feels weird, But when you just have 30 seconds, or more likely 2 seconds to grab someone's attention, 30 seconds to keep it, sometimes you got to pull out all the stops, right? So that's number one. Number two, I want to talk to you about something called the goldfish method. I call it the goldfish method because you don't need a memory longer than a goldfish. And what that means is that you just write down your script. Right now I'm not scripted, but in short form, I think it's a good idea to script. You break it up into lines. You're just going to look down, read one line, look at the camera, deliver the line. Look down, read one line, look at the camera, deliver the line. And this is how you're going to get away from the problem that comes with teleprompters. Teleprompters, there's a different part of your brain that operates when you're reading a script. That really sucks. So what you want to do instead is, instead of having to go to the part of the brain that's reading, or worse yet, the part that has to memorize stuff. And by the way, if you are going to come at me with like, oh, the Hollywood movie actors, they memorize everything. Yes, they do. And they get paid tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars because they're really, really good at it. And it's a very difficult skill to master. It's very difficult to speak from memory and then act as if you don't have it memorized. That's why they get paid so much. I don't have that skill level, and I'm going to guess that 99.9% of the people watching this don't have that same skill level. So the next best thing is the goldfish method. Read one line, repeat it. You're not memorizing, you're just repeating what you read. The other thing you want to think about too is, to keep people's engagement, you want to do a video cut like once every 1 to 2 seconds. That's how fast it is. So if you have, let's say, 10 lines in your 30-second script, right? So then that's going to be an average of 3 seconds per line, which is fine. You're going to read one line, read to the camera, and once you're happy with that, you move the camera to a different scene. And you're going to face this way and do the same thing. And then you're going to face this way. One line, one cut. And then your editor stitches those all together, and it makes the video way more engaging. So for energy, those are the 3 things I want you to remember. Number 1 is going to be exaggerate everything, all right? Number 2 is going to be the goldfish method. You put all your lines in order, one line, one cut. You read it, repeat it, switch positions, shoot the next thing, all right? And what was the third thing? Was there 3?
Maybe just 2.
Maybe just 2, all right? Are you guys cool with that? Actually, there's a third one. I don't know if we're gonna have time to go over it, but the third one is called the partner in crime. All right, I'm gonna give you the partner in crime. So I was on a coaching call, and basically what happened was, somebody was like, every time I get in front of the camera, I get all nervous, and I look nervous, I feel nervous. And it's true, I watched the video, and they were just kind of speaking as if they had a gun to their head, or it was like a hostage video. And so what we did, and this is something I learned from someone named Mo McRae, and he said, what you want to do is think back to your childhood, like when you were in middle school, or maybe even when you were, younger than that. Who was your friend who you kept getting into trouble with? Who, people know, like, oh, if they're missing, then they must be with, Bob, or Gene, or Billy. And there is somebody in your life right now, and I want you to just take a minute right now. Who was that person as a child who was your partner in crime? Maybe you played hooky together. Maybe you went and, snuck a pack of cigarettes, behind the school or the church, or you're drinking beer when you shouldn't be. Whatever that is, right? Who is that person who you got into trouble with? Now, what I want you to do is go find that person on Facebook, right? And look for, a picture that looks similar to them, like to that age. Like, let's say you're 13. 13 is the naughty age, isn't it? Print it out and actually go and stick it right below the lens. Their little face. Now, here's the thing. I'm already thinking of somebody right now, and then I don't have his face there right now, but I could picture it. And the moment I see his face, what happens? A little bit of mischief comes over me. And everything I deliver becomes a little bit fun, and I feel like I've got this secret that I'm trying to keep, and I just can't help myself from smiling and delivering from a completely different energy. So this has helped me. It's helped a lot of my clients. And it's really simple shit like that actually changes you from being a robotic, stiff, news anchor to being a likable character. So that's 3. I gave you 1 bonus. Let's move on to frameworks. So far we covered production, right? The gear you need to use and how to use it. We covered energy, how to show up with the right kind of energy for the right format. And now let's talk about frameworks. So when it comes to frameworks, I'm going to share one with you. It's just like the best one for getting started. Think of this as like your Swiss Army knife. And there's a whole bunch of them, but this one is going to serve you the best since you're watching this one YouTube video, and I want you to walk away with usable stuff. So I call this the 3 in 3. And this is something that I came up with when I was trying to help my clients to actually get people's attention in a contrarian way while showing up with authority. So let's talk about authority content versus value content. I'm not a big believer in value content. Value content is where you tell your audience what to do, like how to this and how to that. That was really, really good a few years ago, but now there's so much of it and AI is generating a whole bunch of slop. What you need to do is switch to authority content, which tells people how to think about something. And let me show you an example of that. So the 3 and 3, it's got 3 phases. Okay, so in phase 1 is when you're going to immediately tell them to stop doing something. And this is going to be something that they genuinely think is a good thing. Like stop losing weight by exercising more. Stop saving money if you want to get rich. Stop shooting videos if you want to get popular, right? And then you want to tell them right here what they want to do instead. That's short for instead, right? So basically it's going to be the opposite. Stop doing this, do this instead. And then you're going to give them 3 practical tips to get started that they could do right away without gatekeeping. And this is going to be the hook, the turn, like what, and then let's just say the payoff, the thing that makes it work. And I'll give you an example of this. And I'm not a health expert. I'm just going to make this up, and this is bad health advice most likely. But for example, if I was a weight loss expert, I'd say stop cutting carbs if you want to lose weight. What you want to do instead is make sure you're getting enough sleep, because no matter how many carbs you cut, if you're not getting enough sleep, you have so much cortisol that it's not even going to help you. Your body's just going to retain more. So stop, what to do instead. And then 3 is 3 practical tips that you can use right away. So I'm going to say, so what you want to do is number 1, instead of trying to wake up later, which is impossible, what you want to do is set an alarm for when you go to sleep, because that's going to help you actually control how much sleep you get. Number 2, don't eat any food for at least 2 hours before bed, because that's going to disturb your sleep. And number 3 is, let's just say, get an 8 sleep, one of those electronic bed sheet things that helps you get the best sleep ever. Now, if you want help to implement this plan so you can actually lose weight without having to cut all the carbs, then comment whatever down below and I'll send you a free guide. So that's a really clumsy way of doing this, but here's what you need to know. It's a framework. It's something that's already in your expertise. It's in your wheelhouse. It's probably in your IP or education program. And you don't need to go invent new stuff. What you're doing is you're sharing something in a format that is actually interesting and it's going to grab attention. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed this, and I want you to know that I'm making this without a script. I just have a basic rundown of what I want to do, but I've been teaching this to my clients for a long time, so I'm really clear on exactly what it takes to make this happen. And by the way, if you look down below this YouTube video, you're gonna see that I have a custom GPT for the 3 and 3 so that you can click it, answer some questions. It's gonna help you script that out. So grab that, that's my gift to you, it's for free. And also I have links to the actual gear, this kind of stuff. If you're looking for that, it'll help to support this channel. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, don't forget to hit subscribe, give it a like, and comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite part of this video. I'll see you in the next one.